Before you write these terms down in your sketchbook, let's go over them together. 1-point perspective terms. The first term is horizon line. A horizon line is a horizontal line where the land and the sky meet. Also, it is our eye level. The next term is vanishing point. The vanishing point is where all lines appear to meet or converge and disappear. The objects get smaller as they get closer to the vanishing point. Lastly, converging lines. Converging lines are lines that lead to the vanishing point. Please pause this video and write down all of these terms in your sketchbook and then come on back. All right, you should have written the terms in your sketchbook now. We're going to look at how these terms actually apply to a real image. So here we have a perfect example of 1-point perspective. Now, 1-point perspective is the type of perspective we're learning about this year. And it's called that for a very specific reason, which we're going to get to in just a second. So let's start with the very first term that we just wrote down, which is horizon line. Now, the horizon line is where the land and the sky meet. Can you guess where the horizon line might be? There it is. The horizon line is a horizontal line where the land and the sky meet. It is also our eye level. So if we couldn't see where the land and the sky meet, we could assume that any part that we're looking directly at, that is our horizon line. Anything above the horizon line is something we're looking up at, and anything below the horizon line is something we're looking down at. Now, the reason why 1-point perspective is called 1-point perspective is because it has one vanishing point. So here's the second term that you wrote down. The vanishing point, which if you go back to your notes, you'll notice the vanishing point is where all the lines appear to meet or converge and disappear, and that objects get smaller as they get closer to the vanishing point. So let's look at that. Here you can see everything looks like it's sort of converging to that small point, our vanishing point, and disappearing. You can also see that objects look like they're getting smaller as they get closer to the vanishing point. For example, the lines on the road, we can hardly even see the dashes on the road back here because they are so small. The final term that you learned about and that you wrote down is called converging lines. From your notes, you know that converging lines are the lines that lead to the vanishing point and look like they disappear. Here's some example of those converging lines. So like I said, the dashes in the road would be a perfect example of converging lines. You can also see all the edges of this bridge, and these road lines are also converging lines. They lead to the vanishing point and they look like they disappear. Look at your definition. The horizon line is where the land and the sky meet, or where it looks like they meet. See if you can figure it out. And there it is. Did you get it right? That is the horizon line. It's where the land and the sky meet. Now, even though these trees are blocking some of where they meet, we can still tell approximately, if the trees weren't there, where the land and the sky meet. And a lot of it is easier for us to tell because we know the vanishing point has to be on the horizon line. And there's our vanishing point. If we follow our train track edges, we can see all the lines are leading towards the vanishing point, which is on the horizon line. Now, these lines that lead towards the vanishing point are called converging lines because they converge or meet at the vanishing point. Do you see any other converging lines in this image? Now, they don't necessarily have to be lines like tracks. They can be lines that are created, for example, by the tree edges. Let's look. Here are some more converging lines. This converging line follows the edge of the trees. This converging line follows this dirt path. This converging line follows the tops of those wooden posts. So that's a great example of a horizon line, a vanishing point, and a number of converging lines.